Man, that reminds me of a different thing I did, but this might actually be way worse. I don't know. This is a different thing that I did. And I don't know if I should talk about this, because I feel like if I talk about this, then I might actually... if too many people know about this, then I'm afraid I might end up in, like, legal trouble or something like that. Maybe it's not that bad, all things considered. But it is kind of funny. I guess I have to talk about it just because it's kind of funny. Maybe it's not that bad, okay? But... do you guys remember the internet before there were, like, CAPTCHAs? And if you wanted to, like, if there was, like, let's say a contest where you could submit something, you could just do it. And there was no you could just do it 100 times and nothing would stop you. Because there was no CAPTCHA. Everything, the only thing stopping you was just, like, how much effort you were willing to put into this one thing. And there was this contest you could win, or no, it wasn't that I could win. So, this was very early on, when I had started learning Japanese. I was getting into Japanese music, and there was this band I really got into, that I really liked, called Dir Grey. I was a huge Dir Grey fan. They were actually what motivated me to learn Japanese, because I was like, wow, Japanese is such a beautiful language. I love this. I love how it sounds. So I was hugely into Dir Grey, and I just wanted more people to find out about Dir Grey. So I found this contest. This was Kerrang! Magazine. If you know... if you were into metal music at that era, you probably know of Kerrang! They were like the biggest, like, metal magazine, at least in Europe. Maybe not in America. Kerrang! Was huge, they were big, and they had a contest of, like, submit, like, your favorite. Submit your favorite, vote for your favorite band. And they had, like, different metal, and I was like, just like, I'm gonna vote for Dir Grey, and I'm gonna make everyone vote for Dir Grey. And I was, like, going to forums and being like, hey, we should all us Dir Grey fans, we should all vote for Dir Grey in this thing. And everyone shut me down. And they were like, that's so stupid, no one knows about Dir Grey. And, like, no one cares, no one's gonna vote for it, it's a waste of time, etc, etc. And that pissed me off. So what I did was like, well, if only I'm going to do it, if only I'm gonna vote for Dir Grey, then I might as well do it like 100 times over. So I set up this script on my computer that just submitted Dir Grey over and over again to this website. And then I was like, this is not enough. I need more. So I went the next day at school, while my computer was doing this. We had computer class that day, actually. So the next day at school, at the end of computer class, I was like, hold on. I know how to set up scripts that do this. I already did this at home. And then I checked the schedule, and I was like, there's no other computer class. Today we're learning so much about Onimachi. This is my evil arc. It was the only computer class for that day. And I was like, hold on. What if I set up every computer in this class to vote for Dir Grey in this contest? And I could easily do that. It was like a very simple thing. It was like a software where it was like moving your mouse. It was registering your mouse so that it moved around, and it was like typing stuff in by itself. So I did that to every computer in my computer class, and I was like, this is perfect. And when the people find out about this, I'm gonna be long gone. But what I didn't know was that apparently, like, something had happened in another computer place. So it had been, like, rescheduled to that, like, computer place, like those computers. So what happened was that I walked by that room like 15 minutes later, and I was like, this is odd. No one's supposed to be here. I looked at the schedule. There's no classes here. And the teacher in there was freaking out. And there were students there like, we're getting hacked. We're getting hacked. The computers are moving on their own. And I was like, oh no, no, oh no. Like, it was the case of, like, it was set up like the mouse was just moving on its own, going to this webpage, typing in Dir Grey to Kerrang, and it was just like doing this over and over on every single computer. And all the students there were freaking out. They had never seen anything like this, and even the guy holding the class was like, I'm confused by this. But then he looked at me, and I don't know what prompted him. I guess he knew that I was like savvy with computers and stuff like that. He looked at me, and immediately he was just like, Matthias, do you have anything to do with this? And I don't know how he figured that out. Maybe it was just like my expression, my shock. And I immediately came clean. I was just like, yeah, I did it. And all he did in his defense was just like he was like, okay, well, just make sure the computers don't do that. And don't do that again. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I just made the computers not do that, right? And I was like, okay, well, then I gave up, right? I was like, that was enough. I was like, that's enough. I don't need to do that more. I have voted enough for Darren Gray. This is where I might get into like legal trouble, I feel like, potentially. Because I was like, you know what? That was probably not enough to win the contest for Darren Gray or whatever. And what I didn't know, well, later I would check back on the forums, and someone commented there like, hey, my friend works at Kerrang, and he said Darren Gray got a ton of votes. And I was like, huh, interesting. Maybe like my initiative to make people vote worked out. I don't know. And then Kerrang announced the winners, and they were like, fan favorite Darren Gray is winning best artist of the year. And I was like, huh, interesting. Did I have anything to do with that? And they were like, as voted by like millions of people. I was like, I don't I don't think I may. Okay, that's cool. They win the contest, right? That's cool. But surely nothing will come out of that. Then Darren Gray go on Kerrang World Tour. And I was like, hold on. Have I caused like some kind of liable damage by like making some kind of like, I don't know, demand that is not there? This is where I get into the territory of like, I don't know if I should be telling this story. Because it's entirely potential that I made Darren Gray like go on tour with Kerrang, and there was no demand for it other than I was submitting like I wanted to make sure they win, and that's it. And I am kind of like, it's so weird to put into like words like how much this changed like the trajectory of the band Darren Gray. I kind of just want to look up some of the stuff that happened as a result of that. I do feel like, I don't know, can I really? For a long time I just denied that I was like I had any part of this, because I was just like, there's no way, right? There's no way I had any part of this. But now looking back at it, I'm just like, there's no way anyone, like, there's no way Darren Gray were that popular at the time. Like, how does this happen? That they are, like, on tour? I guess looking at this, all the views, and, like, maybe there was some demand, but I feel like I must have played some part in it. You made Darren Gray... I mean, you made Darren Gray go on tour. I mean, it would only make sense, wouldn't it? Right? Like, I rigged the poll so that Darren Gray went, like, hugely popular, according to Kerrang. And I don't know. I feel like, am I responsible for some kind of damage as a result of that? Like, did I do anything? Man, here's some footage. Making people exposed to this. That's kind of cool. I feel like they were just not that popular enough for any of that. Man. Anyway. Don't sue me, Kerrang. If they find, hey, you caused damage, you made demand that was not there. It's Machi's world, we're just living in it. Man. I feel like it's entirely possible, like, I did it, because I feel like it's just not feasible that, like, people would have... There was no effort, like, back then for that kind of stuff, like there is now. Like, now there's, like, K-pop stands and stuff like that. But back then, there just was no demand like that. I don't even know now. Like, I kind of stopped listening to Darren Gray because of that, because I kind of felt guilty about it. And I was like, man, did I do that? Maybe I would like to think that I did and that I didn't. And if Kerrang is like, hey, we can hold Matthias responsible for like damage because creating demand that wasn't there, then it's all a joke, and I'm a liar, and I made it all up. But isn't it funny if it were the case?